What's going on, everybody? This is Jeff from Jeff Needs Sports. This is OTBN365, Off the Ball Network's new daily sports podcast that is something new for 2022. We think it's going to be big. I get to host the first one. I'm the guinea pig, so to speak. And we appreciate everybody that's listening, everybody that likes, everybody that subscribes, everybody that interacts with us on Twitter, Off the Ball Network. Obviously we do this for the fans and for the listeners, and just for sports fanatics and movie fanatics and just entertainment fanatics in general. So all the interaction, all the kind words, all the messages, all the subs, everything, greatly appreciated over here at Off the Ball Network. And we're just big things coming in the future, and we're constantly working to make it better. Get at us at Off the Ball Network, OTB_network on Twitter. Tell us what you like, don't like. Tell us what you want more of, want less of, who you can't stand, who you love. All of that. It's all appreciated, and we genuinely use it to fuel content and try to make all of our shows better in the future. So again, thanks a lot. So here we go. The first one. We're just coming off a pretty awesome sports weekend. You got the second round of the NBA playoffs, are going with some superstars, big name teams and young stars and all that. And then we're coming off what I think is an historic NFL draft. So it's just some wild things happen. So we're going to try and take it all in here. We're going to try and spend 15 to 20 minutes discussing it. Hopefully give you something to discuss through today, give you something to think about. Basically we're just trying to spurn conversation here, and everybody share ideas. Water cooler talk, so to speak, is an old term for it. If anybody is old enough to remember hanging around the water cooler and talking about sports or whatever happened the night before. So here we go. My first one on my list: Bucks versus Celtics. That kicked off Sunday. Great matchup. You got Giannis, you got Tatum. You get the defending champs in the Bucks, the up and coming, what everybody thinks is an up and coming possible, I won't say dynasty, but possible perennial contender with Tatum and Brown and Smart and those guys. With the Celtics, they're just coming off an awesome series where they swept the Nets, and they didn't just sweep the Nets. They really forced the issue. They put it to them. They shut down a couple of the absolute best offensive players in Durant and Kyrie that we've ever seen. So Celtics are just all the momentum coming into this. And of course you got Giannis coming in, who I believe it's almost inarguable at this point. He's the best basketball player on the planet. That was, that title gets thrown around every now and then. We had Jordan at one point, maybe Shaq, possibly Kobe, at certain times. LeBron certainly for almost a decade, maybe. Steph kind of pushed his way in there, but then I think right now it's Giannis and everybody else, and it was awesome. I thought it was a great performance. Basically, what I took from it is Giannis clearly heard all the hype and all the talk and everything, all the flowers that we were giving the Celtics for a week about how tough they were. This is reminds of these 90s teams. They're physical. They push people around. They're just getting it. Look out. You got the Bucks coming in. Middleton's not playing. They're a little banged up. Are they going to be able to establish the pace and that they did against the Celtics? Clearly no. Clearly Giannis heard all this. He came in on a mission. He was physical. What he did, Celtics still played their great physical in your face defense, and Giannis just went at it every time they tried to press him. Every time they tried to pin him down, trap him, he would swing with violence. So as if they were going to be physical, they were going to get punished for it, and he made sure. Every time they started closing in on him, he did one of two awesome things. He went straight to the basket, forced the issue, got a foul. Not only got a foul, it felt like a third of the time there was at least one Celtics defender wound up on the ground, because Giannis he is just such a physical marvel at the position, and he was forcing the issue the entire time. And he was, of course he wants to make Tatum spend as much energy on defense as possible. It completely worked. I thought Giannis's game plan personally coming into it was awesome. And then another thing he did was he was passing out of, those situations, setting up his team like perfectly, like, getting, great open jumpers, a great listen, as the Off the Glass podcast and something he talks about a lot. Knowledge over there talks a lot about the hockey assist. Like it's the pass to the pass. If anybody is a big fan of LeBron James. He was one of the best ever at this. He would, he saw the guy in the corner, but he knew that you made a pass, to another player and it was still going to get to him. So like Giannis sees that now. It's almost unfair at this point. I told, I put it out on Twitter. He's like a creative player now. He's bringing the ball up the floor. He's coming off the perimeter and shooting, step back jumpers. He's taking, he's popping, shooting. So he gets the defender on their heels because they got to try and protect the rim from this dude. And then he's just stopping in front of him and dropping J's. And he didn't even have a great shooting game, and Milwaukee won comfortably. So really bodes well for them in this series. But I do believe basically Celtics came off a net series to where they thought it was one way, and like my man Marley said, it was clearly another. I think they'll adjust to the physicality. They're going to have to get more offensive. They're obviously not going to shut down the Bucks offense the way they did the Nets, because the Bucks forcing the issue. They're just going to have to get more offensive and score some more points, and they can. They've got the talent there. I can clearly see Tatum scoring, having a 30-40 point game. At first I thought the series would go 7. I it's hard for me to watch yesterday and see how the Celtics are going to at least get it to 6. But then I know that it's the NBA. Every game is different in the playoffs, and we could see the exact opposite. So really excited about the series. It was everything I wanted. Then we had Golden State versus Memphis. Now this was a fun game because basically my note was you got these young, fun, superstars in the making, John Morant and the Memphis Grizzlies, and they're going against we very seldom get a team that has a championship dynasty like Golden State that has the core group of players still together, a decade later. So we saw it, I remember when Golden State was the version of the Grizzlies and they were upset. And I believe they upset the Spurs one series or took them to 7. It's hard to remember, like, in the middle 2000s there. And that was when everybody's like, okay, this team could be something. Steph Curry's different. And now like 12, 13 years later, the Grizzlies are that team and they're just out there, they're quick, they're fast, they're energetic. I think they're well coached, really, from what I can see. I'm not a basketball expert. I won't tell you I know the ins and outs, like some of the guys over at the network do. But just a really fun game. Jaws, he's just a blast to watch. He's emotional. He carries emotions on his sleeves. I like how he pushes people's buttons, like as far as the fans before and after the game. That's fine with me. You can root against him, you can root for him, as long as you're paying attention, as long as you're into it, as long as you're watching. I really love it. He's fun. Had a good game and back and forth. Great ending to this game. There was a point, I believe there's 30 seconds left, and the ball changed hands a couple times. There was reviews, there was shots. It was just amazing back and forth. Of course, Clay, had some huge free throw misses to give Memphis a chance to win this game, which is unheard of for Klay Thompson to miss 2 free throws. But he also made the 3-point to give Golden State the lead. Draymond got thrown out of the game earlier. I should have mentioned, Draymond being Draymond. I understand that the foul wasn't as egregious and violent as maybe be worthy to get thrown out, but it's classic Draymond. And what I said was, well, when is it? Everybody's like, well, you can't throw him out for that. He wasn't trying to hurt him. Well, okay, then how many times do you let Draymond do that and then throw him out? So like, that's the line. So the ref, clearly the line was then. He grabbed the guy by the jersey, he yanked him down, and then act like he was trying to help him to trying to be slick and get out of it, like he always does. That's how he plays. Full confession, I know he's one of the better players ever, one of the smartest players ever, great teammate, but he also does these little things. He gets by and he gets by and he gets by and he walks that line. Then he complains about it as if they're picking on him. But you grab the guy's jersey, yanked him to the ground. If that guy comes down weird on his ankle and is hurt, then we're having a different conversation. So, it's essentially like, oh, well, he tried to help him up, or the guy didn't get hurt. Well, the ref can't judge everything based on results, because then you got, what are you going to do? You have sticking feet, under people when they're coming down on a jump shot. Like somebody does that to Klay Thompson, but he doesn't get hurt. Is Draymond cool with that? No. So we know the deal. He was getting cute and he got busted for it. And, they wound up winning the game. this flagrants will pile up. There's now we got to bring in a chance of a suspension into it. Is what it is. So not the end of the world, but it's it's fine. I don't think I think if he left him in the game, I wouldn't be mad, but he threw him out. That's fine too. Uh, I like this version of Steph, this older version, taking what they give me. He's letting Poole do a ton of the work. He's made great passes, had a couple great defensive plays yesterday. He just he's taken this role like at this stage of his career. He's still a fantastic shooter and a fantastic offensive player. I'm not saying that, but he also understands like, okay, I'll do whatever. Like I can do a ton of things. I don't, if my role now is facilitator, defender, if I need it that game, that's what I'll do. Really in the last few years, Steph has really established himself as one of the true greats of all time, all around basketball players. It was fun to watch him yesterday. I'm glad Clay's back too, by the way. Love Klay Thompson. And then it was a great last play. Memphis is down one. They got Jaw in the backcourt, and I'm like, okay, what's going on here? They run a great, inbounds. They get him running full speed, taking advantage, of his quickness and athleticism. And he's got a beeline to the hoop. Credit to Klay Thompson. Awesome defensive play. Slides over, gets in his way. Doesn't block the shot, but definitely changes it. Ja has to take an awkward left-handed, kind of scoop layup, as to where I think if Clay's a step later, Ja dunks that and walks off and is awesome. Great design play. Sometimes you just miss. That's it. Memphis loses game one. No, I know everybody says it's just game one. I think it's huge because you got to win 4. So now Memphis has to win 4 out of 6. Golden State has to win 3 out of 6. That's a huge difference. It's so obvious. I never understand why it's just one game. No, it is not in the playoffs. You only get 7 at max. It's not just one. That's huge. But fun game to watch. Two great games back to back, middle of the afternoon. Perfect Sunday of NBA playoff basketball. And I'm excited for tonight. And then the last thing real quick, we'll talk a little bit before I get out here about what I consider an historic NFL draft. Anybody interested? Jeff Needs Sports. I'm doing a show with Couch Coach Live from the Couch Coach Live show. Hopefully some other, off the ball network guys. We're going to have a more in-depth discussion about what happened in the NFL draft. But what I got to say on it today was anybody knows me, it's the joke that I hate running backs, but I just, over the years, I devalue them. And I don't believe in drafting them first round. I don't believe in trying to pin a franchise on them because of physicality. There's so many things that running back position is just it's just not as valuable as it was 30 years ago. So the NFL clearly finally agrees. No running backs in the first round. And I know everybody says, well, there wasn't a great one. Well, that's the position now, but nobody forced the issue. No running backs in the second round. But what got crazy was the quarterbacks. So Pickett goes 20 in the first round. And then nobody until the third round. When coming into this college football season, we're talking about Howe, we're talking about Willis. We were talking at that point, we were talking about Rattler from Oklahoma. We're talking about these guys going maybe the first pick in the NFL draft. And then all of a sudden we get one quarterback out of the first. I believe it was maybe 75 picks or something. I'm sorry, I didn't write down the details, but you all know the deal. So clearly what this is telling me, and everybody, I understand it was considered a weak quarterback class. That's never mattered before. We've seen a lot of average quarterbacks go in the first round because teams force it. This year, they did not force it. I'll go so far to say Pittsburgh probably forced the Pickett pick, but they feel good about it. If that's their quarterback, that's fine. But what I like is they're evaluating, it seems like, more on talent now. And just like I say, if you take last year, some of these young guys, wouldn't we have rather seen Justin Fields get drafted in the second or third round, and then you don't have to force the issue because you don't have the salary and you don't have the pressure to stick these guys in. Quarterback is so hard in the NFL. They need development, but when you draft them really high because of those salaries mostly, and because of what you gave up for them, you got to force them in there, and it kind of sets them back and your franchise back. Sam Howell going in the 5th round it's not great for his bank account, but it's going to give him and Washington the best chance for success because they're not squeezed. They can afford him. If he's great, awesome. If he's not, he's got time. He's not killing you on the salary cap. You don't have the fans, the media. other player. You don't have them breathing down your neck to get this guy in, get this guy in. It's a perception thing, I know, but I just love that teams were like, we want to get quality players. We want to get guys that can help us soon, because the windows in the NFL to go to the Super Bowl shut on your fingers very quickly. So this year they clearly, I mean, you got defense went the first 5 picks. All 5 of those defenders more than likely will start game 1 next year. And then you had a run on receivers. I think 6 receivers in the first round. Those receivers are all projected to start. So in theory, there's at least almost, I would say 90% of the first round draft picks are projected to start day 1, because they went for need, and they went for quality players a little more than they did the future of franchises now. And will that last forever? Is this a new way that teams are going to draft with more common sense? I don't know. But I know that, I'm going to go, like, again, check out me and Couch Coach Live later when we get into it. And, we'll do more. But I think that this could be I think this could be the norm, not an anomaly, is what I think. A fun NFL draft. It was cool to watch, and plus, honestly, it was cool to be right about some of this stuff for the first time. Let's be honest. We all have egos, and for a running back not to go first round, it felt good for Jeff Hates Running Backs hashtag. So that's it, everybody. Thanks for listening. I know it was a lot. I hope whatever the rest of your day brings, I hope you enjoy it. If you're driving, drive safely, wear your seatbelt, all that stuff. If you're listening to this at work, we appreciate it. Again, offtheballnetwork.com, OTB_network on Twitter. I'm jhunt006 on Twitter. Get with me, all the guys, like, share, subscribe, review, all the good things. Have a great day, everybody. This was OTBN365.